So I've just arrived at the hives, and it's kind of neat to see all the pretty yellow flowers that are blooming around near the in the community garden. And we look at the hives. There's the little nuke hive that we'll be looking at today, and here are the two bigger hives, and they're all looking fine. And the wind is blowing, which is going to make our inspection lots of fun. So we're going to start with lighting the smoker. I've decided I'm going to show you all every time how to do this because there are always some new people in each inspection. So you start, first of all, you empty out your smoker. Your smoker should have nothing in it from the last fire because it's just ashes and it takes up room and it doesn't help the fire. So you start by making a little ball of pine straw and put it down into the smoker and light it. I always use a propane lighter. When I was taking my certified beekeeping test, Bill Owens was giving me the test and he handed me a cigarette lighter. I'd never lit a cigarette lighter in my life. Had no idea how to use it. I couldn't figure out how to make it go. I tried and tried and tried. I said, am I going to fail this test because I can't light the cigarette lighter? And I said, Bill, I have a propane lighter that I use all the time in my car. Could I just go get it? And thankfully he let me, because now I'm a master beekeeper and I wouldn't have ever passed certified if I'd had to light the smoker with that cigarette lighter. So I'm not good at lighting smokers. So you want to get it going so that there's a good bit of flame going on. Once you've got your fire going real well, then you want to add some more fuel. So we're going to add pine straw in little bundles. And every time you add the fuel, you do a little more puffing. It's so vigorous right now. By the time we get to our third hive, it'll probably be out. Might be out at the end of the first. I'm not good at this. I always buy a bale of pine straw every year at the big box stores and keep it inside in my basement so it'll be dry and doesn't get wet during the rains. And I use that for all of bee season. Sometimes I have to buy another one before bee season's out. Depends on how many hives you have and that sort of thing. Okay, our smoker is lit. So now we're going to start with the big hive since we didn't get to see it last week because of the problems I was having with the lawn people and my awareness of the camera. Let me get the hive so you can see it. So we'll do what we always do first, which is examine the front of the hive. With the robber screen on, you can see a little bit better what's going on at the front of the hive. Some beautiful colors of pollen are coming in. The bees seem to have adapted much better to the robber screen than they had before. And we have all this grass in front of the hive that I'm considering clipping a little just to help the bees out, and I may do that. But the bees look fine. There's nothing for us to worry about from looking at the front of the hive. I don't see dead bees, I don't see sick bees, I see bees with pollen. So we go puff, puff, puff at the beginning of the door to say the beekeeper is here. Okay, so now I'm going to take the rock off the top of the hive. I'll get my hive kit. Now, like always, we ask the question, why are we going into this beehive? We're going into this beehive mainly because it's a strong and good hive, and it looks good from the front. We're mainly going today to see, do they need a new box? We're in the middle of the nectar flow, and we gave them a new box last week. So we open the box up, and there are lots of bees on the top, which should make us all happy. Makes me happy. And the bees propolize all the open cavities in the hive, so they've propolized this. Propolis is a resin that they gather from the trees, and they use it like pioneers used to do to cheat cracks in in the log cabin. And looking at this new box, oh my goodness, we are going to give them another new box today. So this time we will get to see checkerboarding. So I'll show you what I'm seeing, and you'll see it too. See, there's lots of new wax being built. A whole lot. They may not have used every frame, but they look like they've used a lot of the frames. So we're going to give it a look and see what we see. And make some decisions. So I'll put a hive drape on to make them a little calmer. And because it's the nectar flow and I can already see that they've built good wax in this box, I'm going to go ahead and get the second box. Now, in preparation for checkerboarding, I'm going to remove frames 1, 3, 5, and 7. Out of this box. I'm going to take frames 1, 3, 5, and 7. So here's 1, 3, 5, and 7. That just makes it easier when I get ready to put the checkerboarded frames into the hive. Okay. So now, we're not going to look at this box right now. So I want to go into a box where there's some brood so that we can see some brood, just to satisfy the question, the second question you always ask, which, oh, is that heavy? They've been doing good work. Which is the queen laying and doing fine? Since this was a honey box last week, we're going to assume it's still a honey box this week. I can see in here that they haven't necessarily done as good a job with their comb as I did in the box above. So we'll look at it in a minute, but we're not going to panic over it right now. We're going to go on down another box worth. Keeping the hive drapes on at this time of year is not easy. It's interesting because it looks like they've worked more in the top box than they have in this box. This box is going to have brood in it. I doubt you can see this box, so I'm going to come over to the camera in just a second. I'm just trying to deal with the wind. Let me fix it so you can see this box. Okay, there we go. Make sure the camera's still going. It is. Okay, so I'm going to come over there. My frame rack. I'll come over here, and I need one more hive drape. This was a very strong, vigorous hive when I got it as a nuke, and consequently, it's really doing great. It's acting almost like a hive that overwintered. And I didn't ask Brandon that. I got the nuke from Brandon Ty. I wonder if this was an overwintered nuke. It was in such good shape when I got it. Now, in my hive inspections, I always take out the second frame from the edge of the box. I do that because when you put the second frame back in at the end of looking at this box, you're rolling bees against other bees. I know many of you have been on my inspections before and have heard me say that, but I wanted to say it for the benefit of people who haven't. It's always nicer for the bees to be rolled against their sisters where they can get out of the way than rolled against the side of the box where they don't get injured. This is going to be our frame we hang on the side of the hive. It's mostly honey, and many times frames on the side of the box are mostly honey, and it's honey on this side as well. And I can see in the first frame that there's lots of brood comb, drone brood being raised in here. It's brood comb, but it's brood comb for drone. Now without that frame, I have much more room to move, and it's nicer, and so I did. So I'm gonna let you look at this. I feel like I showed it to you before because I showed it to a dead camera last week. So that's drone brood. All that shotgun looking stuff is drone brood. There's drone brood throughout that frame. And there's a little bit of worker brood. Right here is worker brood. The flat brood is worker brood. The part that looks like a shotgun is drone brood. I'll look on the other side, and it looks about the same as that side. This is a frame that we worked on last time to straighten out the comb that they were drawing. And they're inside the lines, and they didn't extend this, which is why we did that, was this piece right here. They didn't extend it anymore, so they're learning their lesson, yay. It's nice when you can teach something to an insect. This next one has a little joined comb on the end, and I'm not sure I'm going to pull it out. I don't think I am. So we're not going to look at this box anymore. We're just going to put it back together and look at the honey boxes and see what we need to do in terms of putting the new box in. I'm moving slowly because there are bees all over my hands and I don't want them to be distressed. All right, now this is frame number 1, and we want to put back frame number 2 in its right spot. And I notice I've had it covered up the whole time because that keeps the bees that are on frame number 2 less distressed as well. So I'll put them back in here. From the box below wants to come to, and we don't want it. Still there. Even that where it belongs, but it's not yet. I'm going to cover up this exposed hive over here, tub box. so you can see better. There we go. Okay. Now what we're going to do is look at this one as a honey box. We're going to look at it to see what did they do with this one. 1, 2, that's the new box. Yeah, this is the honey box that we checkerboarded out of last time. So part of what I want to see is how did they use the new frames. You get another hive drape. Because it looks like they used the new frames in the box above, but not in this original box. Like they got excited with the new furniture and didn't care much about the old. So we're gonna start on the other side, I think, in this box. Let me see what those frames look like. Yeah, we're gonna take out the second frame on this side of the box, mostly because when you use foundationless frames, sometimes they make real thick honey frames, and the one on that side that's the second frame does not look so easy to move. Like I might create a problem or break some honeycomb that I don't really want to break. So I'd rather come over here where it doesn't look like maybe they even used this one. Let's see if we can try to get to the bottom of this. I'm not sure we're going to be able to, but this feels like a frame that they're barely using, because guess what? They're barely using it. So they've just barely drawn wax on this frame, just barely. They're using it for honey. That's why the holes are so big, because they're using it for honey. I'm gonna hang it over here just to give me a way to look for a minute. I do see some brood in this box. I wonder if that's why they didn't use this spot so much. This is really odd. Okay. So this particular honeycomb, I'll show you what I'm not liking in just a second. Alright, so here's more drone brood. And more drone brood on this side. So now we got to start worrying about our queen, because we're seeing all this drone brood. I'd like to see a little more worker brood, but not going to get to today, I don't think. I'm going to put this one in the second position because I don't like what they're doing, and I'm going to put this frame over here back in position 3. Now this would have been another empty frame put in last time, and they've done some kind of not pretty comb building in this one. I have this double layer of comb in here, and the double layer doesn't make me particularly happy because it's sort of the beginning of going crooked. But for right now, I think I'm going to leave them alone. I'll look at the next frame, which has some brood on it. I know y'all are thinking, gosh, she's being quiet. I'm sorry, my wash machine is broken. It's been broken for 6 weeks. The part was ordered. First of all, the repairman got sick, and I was worried that he had COVID-19 and couldn't come, so they rescheduled it. Then when he did come, he discovered that it needed a part, and he couldn't find the part anywhere in Atlanta. And then, oh good, this is worker brood. Now we don't need to worry about the queen. Then he ordered the part, and it came in on Monday, and he's supposed to bring it today, and today they called me and said he was sick and he wouldn't be here. And now I'm all worried that what he has is COVID-19, and so I'm thinking about that. I need to think about these bees instead. So that's nice worker brood, so we're not going to worry about our queen because there's nice worker brood there. I'm going to look and see if she's using these holes in this frame for any egg laying. So there's larvae in the cells over here, The bees are covering it up, but I can see it, so it makes me feel good about the bee. She's all right. So we're going to not worry about this hive, and not really worry about this box because they're in fact using it for brood. And so I'm not going to worry so much about the fact that they didn't fill up the empty frames with honey like I would have hoped. So I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to put the frame that I don't like in the number 3 position instead of the number 2 position. It's not down yet, but I'm going to walk around where I've got a better angle. My goal in doing this is not to hurt bees, and it sure is easy to do, to kill bees when you're doing an inspection. But if you move very slowly, the chances of hurting bees is much less. So maybe that will help that issue. Now, we're going to take this frame rack off, and we're going to put our honey box back on and proceed with the checkerboarding. Good and heavy because we're doing a nice job of storing honey in it. So I'm going to move you so you can see this whole process and see where to put you. Let's see if I do like that. See, I'll get to hear me talk my way through the whole thing. I think I'll do it so you can see the box I'm putting frames into. You just have to trust that I'm taking out frames 1, 3, 5, and 7 at a time. So, okay. So we need frame 1, 3, 5, and 7 for down here. So I'm going to start with frame 1 because I'm not going to have an issue with pushing bees against the side of the hive as I put it back in because I'm not going to put it back in. And because this frame doesn't have much on it. But we're going to do it anyway because it's the nectar flow. The bad weather probably didn't help them fill up these frames in the last week. So here's what this frame looks like, and it's going down into position 1. And in its place, I'm going to put an empty frame. 1. Now, 2 is doing fine, and we're going to take out 3. It looks like I'm doing the wrong thing because I think I'm taking out the frames that I put in last time. So, I'm going to take out, I'm going to do this a little differently, but it's still checkerboarding, I promise. I'm going to take what's now frame 2 and put it in frame 3 position in the box that we've got down there. Look at that. Isn't that pretty honey? Beautiful honey. So I'm going to put this in frame 3 position. Now we're going to put a little bit of protection over these bees. Now this is what's in can see it. This is what's in the next position. I'm going to put it in position 2 and put an empty frame in 3. So you make these decisions as you go when you're checkerboarding. Now frame 4 in this box is not one I'm supposed to move, which is good because it has some brood on it. I'd rather keep the brood closer to the brood part, the brood box area down below. So we're leaving frame 4, and the next one we're supposed to get is 5. And if 5 is just as empty as the other one, I'm going to take a different one, just like I did before. So, alright, so this is 5. And let's look at 5, which I think is going to be empty. Pretty much. It's not empty, but see how they barely started on it? So I'm going to put it in position 6 and move position 5 down to the box below. So, a little bit of a challenge because they're showing their comb, but not a lot. Okay, so this one's going to go in 5. It has some drone brood on it, some honey. So we'll leave an empty frame for up here. Put in this position. And then we're just going to switch frame 8 that's in this hive with frame 7, in this box. We're going to switch frame 8 and 7 because they haven't much used 7. That's all they've done with 7. So we're going to move 8 over. The fact that these are so sparse could be an argument for not putting another box on, but it is the nectar flow, and I'd rather get honey than not, so that's why I'm doing that. So now what I'm going to do is come back down here and have empty frames up here at the edge instead of full empty. Okay, so we've invited them. This is more like a ladder than checkerboarding, but you got the idea, and we have invited them to come out to this box. So there we have it. Another day, another box. And a little treat that happened is, see, there's some honey right here. I can put my finger in it and taste it. The hard part about having a veil on is you have to remember to go under your veil into your mouth. That's good. Oh, that's real good. Has a kind of caramelly taste at the end. Okay. All right, so let's put the top back on this hive. And we have done our job with them, including giving them a new box. And now we'll move on to the next hive. Over here, again, we're going to check out the front of the hive and see how are they doing. They've adjusted to the robber spring quite well. They're coming in the sides. They've popped it off at the right end. I need to fix that. Alright, popped off on its own, or popped off in the... Alright, let's see if we see pollen. I've seen some already today, but I want you all to see some. There's some you can see below the screen coming in. There went orange and white. And there's a white one that just landed on the robber screen. You see the bright orange pollen on the one right under there? Okay, so we're going to go to the back of the hive. Well, first I'm going to get my smoker, which has probably gone out by now. Still a little smoke. We'll go puff, puff. Hello bees, we're here. Okay, so I have two goals. with this inspection. One is I need a frame of brooding eggs for a hive at my daughter's house, for one of my hives at my daughter's house. So we're going to be looking for a frame of brooding eggs, and I brought a blank frame to put in the place of that one that we're going to take. Put the rock back on this hive, and take the rock off of this hive. Pillowcase for the frame of brooding eggs. Okay, let me make sure you can see and make the camera show. Okay. So first we're going to take the top off. This hive is starting to look kind of pitiful underneath next to that big tall one. But this hive was a swarm that I caught in Inman Park on March the 11th. And they've built up pretty well. And the question with this hive is, do they need a new box? And the answer is maybe. There's a good bit of comb being used in this box, but not maybe all of it. I thought I popped it up, and maybe not enough. There we go. You hear that little satisfying pop. Okay. These bees are calm and they look good. Look at this. Can you all see this piece of rubber band? This is rubber band they've chewed. They don't want rubber band in the hive. And you can see they've chewed it. And they chew it off when I put one of those corrective experiences in there. And they don't like it. Okay. Don't forget the rock. Now we are in this box for two reasons. One is to see if they need a new box, and the other is to check on the state of the queen. And again, we'll take out the second frame from the side. It doesn't matter which side you start on. You just take out the second frame from the side regardless. Now this frame feels really light. It's full of brood, lots of brood. Wow, she's doing great. So there's big cells over there for drones and little cells over here for worker brood. And on this side, you can see more worker brood. This might be a good frame for us to take, we'll see. Have to find eggs on it. There's no point in taking a frame to a hive that needs to make a queen unless it has eggs. This one does have eggs. You look on the other side and see if it has eggs over there too. This one might be the one. It might not be ideal, but it might be the one. velvet capped brood. Isn't it pretty? Pretty capped brood. Lots of larvae. It's very nice. Makes the wax wet, and it's then called a wet capping. So these cappings are wet cappings because they're lying down against the honey. And look at that beautiful brood frame. It's really pretty, and that's a queen cup at the very bottom. Bees pretty much always keep a few queen cups around in case they decide they need a new queen. This is a heavy frame full of brood, and see how much darker this brood is than the brood we looked at before. And that's what Billy Davis would call dark biscuit. And they're going to emerge in the next day or two because they've been under there for 21 days. And bees have dirty feet, so the wax gets darker and darker over the time that the bees are walking over it. This one too has dark biscuit. They're about to emerge and have a bigger workforce. There are lots and lots of, there's lots of brood in this one. So if there are eggs in this one, maybe this will be a better one for me to take. Let me look first and let me show you. Okay, so there are eggs on this side in here. So I'm going to take this one, and when you're going to take a frame of brood, I'm taking this one for two reasons. One is it has some brood that's about to hatch out, so that will be good for the little hive I'm taking this to. I don't want to risk taking the queen though, so I'm going to shake all the bees off of this frame. And when I've got most of them off, then I'll brush the rest of them off. They hate it when you do this, but we don't want to take them, and we don't want to take the queen. The little hive I'm going to could use the extra bees, but I don't want to run the risk of having the queen by accident. And she's good at hiding. All right, so I'm going to put it in a pillowcase. And we'll keep it warm until time to go. And that way the eggs will still be okay when I get to my daughter's house. Ouch. That was not fair of me. Grab the bee. Okay, so it's wrapped in a pillowcase, and I'm going to just set it over here. Smoke on my hand because I left that stinger in there for a while. It hurts, but it also will. The smoke doesn't make it not hurt, but the smoke does help the bees not decide to sting me there again. Okay, so we're gonna put this frame down in the place that I took that one from. And we're going to close up this box. the second frame back in. That's all we're going to do to that box. Take off this. Some of you are wondering about these divots in the top of this frame. It's a frame that had wax moth all over it, but I use those anyway because the divots are good for the bees. They can make propolis in the divots, and you're glad to have it. Now we're going to look at this box. I don't think they need another box. We're going to see how, no, they definitely don't need another box. So we're going to leave them alone. I'll show you a couple of frames of honey just so you can see it, but they have a lot of space they haven't used. Make sure that you can see that box, okay? Okay. So if we just took the outside frame in this box, and I can do it because there are no bees on it, so I'm not going to run the risk of hurting anybody. See, this is why they don't need a new box. This frame and the one next to it has some honeycomb being built on it, but not a lot. That's what they've done so far on that one. They are doing a good job storing honey. I'm going to show you. That is all honey on both sides. And this is an example of dry cappings because they've not put it down against the honey, so it's beautiful. That's the kind of honeycomb that you can use for comb honey. And the rest of the frames in this box look just like that. So I don't think we're going to give them a new box. I'm going to check on the other side. I think it's empty on the other side of the last. Yeah, it is. So we're not going to give them a new box. We are going to put this frame back, and they've done a lovely job because they donated to a hive that's got no queen. And so, thank you very much, bees. And we are done with this hive. So I'll put the inner cover back on. And the top back on, and maybe next week they'll get a new box. But by next week, I think the nectar flow is going to be over. But I don't see a lot going on. And our goal in this hive is to give them a ladder up into the second box and just make sure that they're still doing okay. They had lots of brood the last time we were here, but it isn't ready to hatch out yet, so they're probably still going to be small for a little while until they kind of catch up with themselves. Okay, so I'm going to go puff puff. I had to relight my smoker. I think part of the reason I always have to relight is I don't ever use it. So if you don't use it, it doesn't feel as motivated to stay on. It doesn't feel useful. Its emotional state is not good. So this hive doesn't look good. Matter of fact, this hive looks awful. Okay. So far I see no bees, but I do see bees now. They're down here. There's still only 3 frames of them. And I believe we're going to not disturb them. There really are just 1, 2, 3 frames of bees. We'll look at this frame of bees and then not go in this hive because I think they need to be left alone. You know, they started as a 3-frame nuke and they should have expanded a little bit more, but I'm not going to feel panicked over that, but I would like to see what this frame looks like. We might look at all 3 frames. So on this side, this frame is full of pollen and honey. And on this side, it's got some brood and pollen and honey. Remember last time we were in here, every frame was full of brood. This one feels really light too, but it's all capped brood. Yeah, it's lots of capped brood all the way across, with a few drone cells down in the bottom. On that side, also on this side, all capped brood. So that's really good. It seems like a frame where we should see the queen. Let me look and see if I see her. If I do, I'll show her to you. So far, no. Look at the other side. They do seem very calm. And right up in this section, there's some very tiny brood. Oh, it might be fun for you to see. Very tiny, little C-shaped larvae that have just fallen over today. So, and we'll look at the last one. And then we're just going to say a 3-frame nuke takes a while to get going. And that's what this is. If it weren't for needing 40 liters of space, I would take off the top box. But for right now, I don't even feel a need for them to have an invitation into the top box. They don't need it. And they're not going to be using it. So, I'm going to put this all back together. They have a little bit on this lice frame. Let's look at that real quick. See, they've drawn some combs, so good for them. Okay, well, that does it for inspecting these 3 hives today. This hive is so small, I'm not going to put a robber screen on it yet. I don't want to confuse them when they're having enough hard time getting started. But next week we'll put a robber screen on this one. Alright, that does it for our inspection. I look forward to your questions. Thanks for coming.